online. Greetings and welcome to everyone. I'm just clicking this when we're doing our recording. If you're there, and now I lost it. Hang on, let me hope I'm still back here with all of you. There we are. Okay. Fun with technology. There we go. So good morning and welcome. Hopefully everyone is doing well this morning. Thankfully, those who braved it out made it to church. I hope you make it back home. I don't know what the weather's like in Niagara Falls. I can tell you I've got about 2 inches of snow here where I am in Amherst, and it's falling steadily. And just like the weather predicted, it's going to continue. So again, hopefully everyone is safe and warm. So let us begin this morning with a greeting that I sort of got it from Hamburg UU, and I really like this. Let me just get it for us. Here we are. Whoever you are welcome here. Whatever you believe, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, you are welcome here. Welcome to all who are joining us today, in person or online, at the First UU Church of Niagara Falls. I'm Reverend Sue Frawley. It's my honor and privilege to be in your pulpit through technology, but also to be with everyone via Zoom. So let us go to our land and social justice acknowledgement. We acknowledge with gratitude and duty the land that our church sits upon, which is land that was stewarded by the Haudenosaunee people. We honor the indigenous people who have stewarded land for generations and continue to do so today. We recognize the ongoing presence and contributions of Native communities in Western New York, and we are committed to fostering respect, inclusion, and healing through our work. In the Unitarian Universalist faith, we have 7 values. These values are a deep part of our commitment to each other and connected with social justice. These values are interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, equity. All of them are bound in the siding and the spirit of love. And so I call you to be present. Take a moment to settle in wherever you are, turn off your cell phones, and let yourself just be through all of your senses in this moment of worship and spirituality. Our opening words today come from a gentleman whose name is Tom Bodett. And if you don't remember who Tom Bodett is, or you don't know who Tom Bodett is, Tom Bodett was the marketing spokesperson. He was also an NPR personality. And he did a radio commercial for Motel 6. And quite spontaneously, at the end of the recording that he was doing, he added this line. And this line has a lot to do with guiding what today's sermon, which is, and here is the line, "We'll leave a light on for you." 1986, those words were first said. Today, they inspire what we're going to be talking about in our sermon. And so we will now do our chalice lighting. If someone is in the sanctuary, would light the chalice. If you're at home, we always talk about the chalice that is within us. And so we can kind of light that chalice inside ourselves. And I invite you to recite the chalice lighting words, which I don't have in front of me for our Niagara Falls Church. Patty, if it's near you, or maybe Erica, if someone wants to recite it for our honor.
Excuse me. Where is it? May the light we now kindle Inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom.
Thank you, Patty. And now we are going to sing hymn 118. If you're at home, I know you probably do not have a hymn book with you, but the tune might be familiar. Patty's going to play it in, and I invite you to join in singing as you choose.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you, Patty. That was lovely. Appreciate that. And so it is a part of our ritual as well as our covenant of being together that we take time to share our joys, our sorrows, and our concerns. In the sanctuary, people are invited, if they would like, to light a candle or drop one of our rocks into our remembrance vase if you're remembering someone who has passed. For those that are online, in a moment, I will invite you, if you would like, you can unmute yourself and share, if you desire, any of the joys, sorrows, and concerns. As has been my practice since almost 2 years ago, October, I always start with hoping for the release of all hostages across our world. I have added of recent, and this morning, sadly, add another name for those who have been murdered in our country, always to say their names with blessing: Renee Good and Mr. Priad. I invite any of you who would like to share joys, sorrows, and concerns to please do so.
Susan, I'm going to light a candle for your wish that you just did.
Oh, thank you.
And as usual, I don't know what to say, but I'll say something anyway. I'm just happy that we all made it here, and we have a congregational group in the sanctuary this morning. And I'll light a candle for us.
This might sound funny, but I'm so happy it's snowing, and then that brings me joy. And last week, I think it was maybe Wednesday, the first, like when it went from snow, or when our yard went from grass to snow, the next morning, the three of us went outside I think it was Thursday or Friday. Abby had off work, and we were outside playing, and Abby was pulling Emerson in the sled, which is crazy because it's flat, and it's like, I don't know why he does it, but he runs up and down the street pulling Emerson in a sled, up down the sidewalk, and then after we jumped on the trampoline and everything, we're playing out in the snow, building tunnels, and made the fire out there. And then afterwards, they went inside, and it was a big, fluffy snowflakes coming down, and I was all bundled up, so I wasn't cold, and I just didn't want to go in. So I took a nice, I actually went for an hour and a half walking around the back of my house. I saw all these beautiful pine trees that the Niagara Falls Beautification Committee had planted years ago. And I was so thankful for that. It was beautiful. And then I walked through Hyde Park, and it was just snow, nothing had been plowed or anything. And then I walked through and went to the lake there, found a nice little trail, and it was just so beautiful. It was like snowing, and I felt like I was miles in the woods, and it was just beautiful and joyous, and yeah, it was nice. So I'm thankful for that for last week. Oh, and then last Sunday we went to Shays because they had Family Film Festival. So for the first half we watched The Parent Trap, and then we went and had lunch, and then we came back and watched The Goonies, and it was the first time Emerson had ever seen a movie that was like a little bit scary. So he was watching the movie like this, and it was really cute. And I was considering doing Zoom today, but they are playing in one of our bedrooms, or one of our downstairs rooms is hardwood floor, and they have 2 remote control monster trucks, and they built little cardboard ramps and stuff, so they want me to be the judge 24/7, sitting there judging their monster trucks. So I wanted to break, and I brought a book, and I came to church. So I came to church, and I brought my book, so after this, I'm not going directly home.
If anyone on Zoom would wish to share, you can just unmute yourself and feel free to share.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Marge.
I just want to remember Judy Bongiovanni. I hope she's well. But I was thinking of her because she lost, just a few days ago, she lost one of her best friends, and his name was Mike Maraca. He and his partner, Steve, were fast friends of Judy's. Steve had passed before he was blind, and his partner always took such wonderful care of him. And now we just Fridays celebrated his life as he passed. So just a memory for Judy and also for Mike Maraca. Thank you.
Does anyone else, either on Zoom or in the sanctuary, have anything that they would wish to share? For all the joys, for all the sorrows, for the concerns. To all of these, we give our best energies and our best blessing. Amen and a women. Our spiritual practice this morning comes from, my papers got all put away. There we go. Sorry about that. Our spiritual practice this morning comes from an essay that was written by Barbara Brannon. It was published in the UUA World. And actually, one of the lines that's in this essay, well, it's not an essay, it's a poem really, was used as a motto or a theme in various UUA publications. I even have a t-shirt that has that particular line. I'll share what that is later, but this is a poem called One Light Through Many Windows by Barbara Brannon. One light through many windows in different colors shines. One flame from many candles burns bright within our minds. One life to us is given, its seconds ours to spend. How manifold its living and infinite its ends. One God with many faces we meet on many roads, who dwells in holy places and lives in low abodes. One earth with many nations must share a common sun, a world of celebrations, a universe at one. One song with many voices now rises from our hearts, and from our separate choices, one chorus, many parts. One light through many windows in different colors shines. One flame from many candles burns bright within our minds. And that is the poem by Barbara Brannon. And the theme and part of it that again is on different t-shirts, posters, is the one light through many windows. And that is often what has been used to describe what is a UU church, and referencing a little bit about what we believe and what we hold dear. And so at this time, we're going to take up our offertory. I believe Patty's going to offer some offertory music. And even though we're not all together, we can also just take a moment while that music is playing to think about what we are grateful for and things that we hope for best in this next week. I always loved singing that song. I used to use it as a lullaby for my kids when they were little. There you go. Of course, my sister didn't know lullabies, so all she sang to her children. You ever remember the song, "Great Green Globs of Greasy, Grimy"? That's the best Kath could do. She wasn't particularly musical. But anyway, I digress. Our sermon today is about "We'll Leave a Light On For You." And I mentioned in the opening words about Tom Bodett, NPR personality and spokesperson for Motel 6, and how he, at the end of the taping for the advertisement for that motel, just blurted out those words. They weren't part of the script. They weren't part of what had been so well crafted for the marketing. And yet it became one of the most well-known and well-used phrases that we've known in our time. So anyway, and at the same time, my computer is telling me about a restart. Hang on, I'm trying not to be, there we go. All right, now it won't do that. Sorry. So what I was thinking about, what I wanted to share in this January during a sermon, that phrase just kept coming on into my head. We'll leave a light on for you. It's just so important. See, I grew up in a house where I had parents who, if me or my siblings were going out for the night, before Tom Bodett ever said those words, my parents would say it. Yep, there'll be a light on. Just come in quiet. And there was always a light on if we went out. And my parents would go off to bed. There'd be a light. Usually it was the light above the sink in the kitchen. Funny side to that as well, though. When we were kids, and some of you may remember Irv Weinstein, he was the evening anchor reporter on Channel 7. And especially on the weekends, Irv would always start his newscast going, "It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?" And my mother, who always would answer back to the TV for all kinds of things, would yell out to him, "Of course I know where they are. They didn't go out yet. They're upstairs getting ready." True. Yes, that was part of it. So all the more reason why when my parents, after watching the evening news and then going to sleep, wanted to make sure that there was a light on. Because what does the light mean? It means that there is a safe and welcoming place for whoever you are who's coming in from the night. Now, the Irish have a bit of a tradition of leaving a light on, usually a candle, and put into the window of a cottage or home. This tradition is especially true at Christmas time, which would symbolize the warm welcome for strangers, or in their minds, the Holy Family. But they also would put it to lost travelers. The light would represent hospitality and peace, and it would also be a beacon for loved ones who were far from home. Rooted in Celtic fire traditions and the penal times, the light in the window was often there also to show to any priests who were traveling and needed shelter that it was a safe home, which again makes that connection, as we have it today, to light representing something that is safe, that is warm, and that is peaceful. Jews light candles that burn on Friday nights to welcome the Shabbat. And there's always a light in the ark that holds the Torah scrolls in a temple. And of course, there are lots of other cultures and faiths that use light as ways to signify safety, connection, and respect. In World War II, when Unitarians and Universalists, they hadn't bonded as one yet, so they were working side by side, when they teamed with Quakers and a few other faith groups to help escort targeted people out of Germany and out of Poland, there was a need to create a symbol of safety that the Nazis would not recognize. Austrian artist Hans Dusch designed it for the Unitarian Service Committee, and it was put together to identify agents helping refugees, symbolizing hope, service, and sacrifice. It later became the symbol For Unitarian Universalism, which represents for us reason, community, and the search for truth, with our ritual of lighting that chalice in service. And that ritual actually sort of came to be in about the early 1970s. It started with children who would do it as practice, as part of their RE learning, as they learned about that war. Some of you may remember, we hosted a movie here at First UU Niagara Falls about the individuals from the Unitarian Church who traveled and were the individuals who helped targeted individuals to leave and to find safety. That chalice, that flaming chalice pin, had everything to do with showing what the light of that flame meant in terms of displaying safety, kindness, and warmth. We lit our chalice this morning. And again, we even bring back that phrase from Barbara's poem that I shared with you as well. One light through many windows. We say words when we light our chalice, and we say these words that mean something to us as a congregation. And interestingly, in keeping with the polity of congregations, every single church has different words. We all light our chalices, but as a community, as a congregation, we all pick different words. And I know this because I serve 3 churches, but I also travel to other churches on other off Sundays, which is why it's always interesting, because if I haven't written it down, I don't always remember, or if I don't have an order of service. But here's the interesting thing I can share with all of you, is that every church that I've served, every church that I've traveled to, every church that I even watch on Zoom sometimes, because I have a couple favorite people I like to plug into what they're doing in Washington and Utah and some other places. When they light their chalice and they talk about the light of that chalice, they all reference, as do we light this flame. It's a symbol of our unity. It's a symbol of our connectedness. And somewhere in every single church's lighting of the chalice words, that connection exists. That connection is ours. And though I talked about some different cultural and religious groups that light candles or other lights, having taken my children to Jewish temples for many, many years, still do on high holy days, there's even ritualistic words that are used to light the Shabbat candles or the candles in temple or candles for other programs as well. Not programs, excuse me, for other times of remembrance. The light from a candle, the light from even a kitchen light left on because somebody cares for those who are going to be coming in from the night, from the dark. That's what's important. And that was a lot to do with Hans Dusch's symbol, the pin that he created that could be an identifier that allowed for those many, many individuals who went to Germany and to Poland to help to create safe passage, flying under the Nazis' radar so that they could help and assist. Because how do you do that when you don't speak the language, when you don't know the culture or customs? It's the light. Right now, we are living in some very, very dark times. I'm not going to get into a political, because the pulpit isn't really for that. But I can say that we, as people, we are living in dark times. And we are all searching for, where is the light? Where is it? It seems that light has been snuffed out of individuals who were walking with light, who were trying to do that purpose in our world of bringing safety and kindness and help. And so when light seems to be snuffed out, how do we reconcile that? How do we hold that? It's a tough one, and we're all doing it. And it is not easy. And there are so many that want to fight back against the darkness, push against it, fight it on its own terms. But there's one thing that we know. We know this as sure as we know anything. While exterior lights and other can be shut out, that light inside us, we always talk about that internal chalice. We always hold that. And no matter what darkness comes upon us, that internal chalice light will always shine. It's there forever, always. And when we remember that, and when we hold that, it gives us a power against darkness. Not a power of destruction, not a power of war, not a power of fighting. It's a power of peace and a power of safety. And that is always stronger than any darkness. But it takes time to get there. It takes time to build that. Sometimes it takes time to remind people and remember that, and to sometimes living with the darkness that's around us. And that's what we're certainly doing right now. People say, oh, people should just fight back. They should push. But sometimes that doesn't always work to the end result. And what do we want? Kind of like from the movie, just went in my head, Miss Congeniality, where the main character is asked, and what do we want? We want world peace. And it's true. We want world peace. And so, again, our internal chalice light, mixed with the lights of others, mixed with the lights that exist both internally and externally, are what we are going to do to force darkness away from the things that we are experiencing, the things that we are living with. Light is so important, and the symbolism that it can come. It was interesting. USA Today writer Craig Wilson, and he was from Orleans County. He's now retired. But he used to have a weekly column, usually on Wednesday mornings. And it was called The Final Word. And I was a big follower of his. Actually got to meet him. All my heroes have always been authors. But I did get to meet him. One of the pieces that he wrote one time was from a young gay man who, like many gay people, were forced to leave his family in order to live in his true identity. And in the piece that Mr. Wilson wrote, he talked about how this young man had contacted him and told him that he had sent his mother an angel candle. And the young man wanted to get the message to his mother that if he saw the angel candle in the window, he would know that he was still loved and he was welcome home. And so Mr. Wilson wrote that piece. It was an unbelievably moving piece. Unfortunately, we never found out if the young man actually saw the angel candle. But that young man could be any young person actually, who's looking for a sign or a symbol of hope in a dark world, in a dark place, sometimes in a feeling of darkness with your own family. That can be very scary. In my house, I keep lights on. There's two of them. One of them is the light that actually was in the Christmas Story. That sort of, what was it? It was the dancer light. And anyway, I had gotten it as a joke, but in my dining room, I actually put it in the front window or the side window. And then the other is I keep the light on in the kitchen. Why? Same way as I tell my kids, I'll always leave a light on for you. And it's interesting because as they have gone out or they're out doing things, that light lights the driveway, lights the entrance, When they come in the house, they can see where they're going or what they're doing. Most times I've gone to sleep, just like my parents have. But in my brain, I go back to Tom Bodett, that I'm creating for my children, that feeling of there's always going to be a light on for you. There's always going to be a safe and warm place that you and your friends and visitors to our home can always find. That's what I think about when I think about what Mr. Tom Bodett said. We'll leave a light on for you. And whether it's in our residence house, but I also think in our church as well, we carry that same idea, whether it's in our lit chalice up here in the sanctuary, or whether it's the chalice in our hearts. No matter what, we'll always leave a light on for you. And so, I invite you. Those in the sanctuary can use the microphone, or we can hear you actually if you come to the front. But those that are on Zoom, all you have to do is unmute or wave, and we can hear you as well. I invite you to talk back and share your reactions, your ideas, anything that you wish to share about today's sermon and about today's message. So, talk back.
There. Well, I thought Susan, I thought your talk was very timely and very good and uplifting and encouraging. And, I had a thought, though, in the whole theme of keeping a light on and keeping the faith and all that, is if you follow the polling, you hear the great clown making a lot of statements and upsetting people around the world, upsetting people in this country. And the thing that you see in the polling is that the support just really isn't there. And so when the clown makes statements of the kind he makes, they are not representative of the people of the United States. They are not representative of how we feel toward Canada or toward anybody else, really, except for a tiny minority that might buy into the notion of hatred. And I think that it would be heartwarming for us collectively and for other people around the world if they realized that when they hear this, that isn't us. That's an individual making statements from a very loud megaphone, which is his alone, and he does not speak for us.
Susan, I loved your sermon. It was educational. I had no idea about the origins of the flame, our flame in our chalice. I had no idea. I don't know about this movie that you referred to. I love it if we could have it in our sanctuary again. Maybe a summer program. It would be wonderful, or maybe one of your Sunday sermons. And I don't know. It was your talk today was just very moving, and I just loved it.
Thank you. Anyone online wish to share? You can just unmute if you choose. Well, I appreciate the comments that have been shared, and I appreciate the attention that we give to each other when we are doing that sharing. That's part of our community building. And as always, I tell you, and I believe it firmly, when you do so, you are ministering to me. And for that, I am very grateful. And I thank you for that. And I just lost my order of service. Hang on. So we are going to do hymn number 189, Light of Ages and of Nation. And so you can find that in your hymn book. And Patty's going to play it in and sing for us.
Light of ages and of nations, every race and every time has received thine inspirations, glimpses of a true sublime. Reasons noble inspiration.
Thank you, Patty. I actually was looking up. I believe the movie that I was referring to was called The Sharps War. But I want to get it directly. But it was about Martha and Waitstell Sharp. Waitstell was a Unitarian minister who traveled and helped again to move people out of Poland and Germany. In fact, both Reverend Sharp and his wife were awarded, if any people know, from Israel, Righteous Among Nations. And it is an award for individuals who have done great tasks and have done things to support and perpetuate Jewish life. And again, I'll find it. I think it's called The Sharps. I'll find it. And we did long when I was doing my ministerial internship, we did a playing of it, but I will find it again and I will find a way to bring it to you because the story is amazing. And again, I know many of you like hearing about history. That film as well gives so much history, both about them, but also about us as Unitarians. And it was right, again, after that, I talk about the 1960s when Unitarians and Universalists came to form bonds together. But it talks about some of those shared. And most important, that's the thing I got most, it was the Quakers who were instrumental in bringing so many of those faith leaders together to form this transport and aid to those during that time. Anyway, it's announcement time. So there was my announcement. If anyone has any announcements for the good of the community or the good of the congregation, I invite you to share those at this time.
I don't think we have any announcements. I don't know if we're having coffee hour or just cake today. Birthday cake, coffee hour.
Ooh,
And then we are going to have a board meeting, I think on the 7th. I think it's the only thing I've got right now.
was there something else or?
Oh, that was all. That was
That was okay. Just thought I heard some. Okay, there we are. Let me share these closing words with you then. I do not know the source, but these are the words and they fit for today. Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. From Anonymous. I think that fits for where we're at. And so we're going to extinguish our chalice. If someone would be so kind to do that, and someone else to read our chalice extinguishing words.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I don't think those words have had more meaning than they do today when we talk about how we want to carry that chalice light inside of us out into the world as a beacon of our faith, but also as a sign of safety. And so Patty has postlude music for us. So Patty, take it away.
You went and suggested one of my other favorite songs.
Okay.
Great big gobs of greasy, grimy gopher cats. But I won't do that one. I found something that's kind of relates to what you're. Twinkle, everybody. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder. Up above the world so high, like twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
I like it. Fun and light. Enjoy the cake today. Have fun. Hopefully I'll see you next month and we won't be bothered by snow and ice. Stay warm and have a peaceful week. So bye, everybody.
Bless you.